Hey, what's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv, guys. Welcome to the show. If you're watching us from YouTube, do comment, like, share, and subscribe. If you're first time here, yes. Also, do share the show with your friends and family if you like what we are discussing here. So, yes, welcome, guys. And yes, that was our new intro for Heliopsychosis podcast. I hope you guys like it. And yes, what an awesome show we have today. Earth as a clay under a seal. Yeah, such a misinterpreted verse, supposed to be from the Bible, and looks like Pastor Locke. That was his main argument. So, and there were many different comments people were commenting about because I did release a clip of 2 minutes. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's on my YouTube and on my Facebook, where my friend is doing like a seal on the clay. He's a potter, so we'll get into that, and we're gonna try to dig in deeper what it could actually mean. And yeah, so before we jump in, let's go on with our co-host and panelist. First, I've got Gene brother from Star of the Mechanical Realm, and also the co-host of Heliopsychosis podcast. Hey, Gene brother, how are you?
Hey, Vika, thanks, bro. That's a nice introduction, man. Appreciate it. I'm really proud to be introduced like that and be here for all of this that's going on in this great awakening we're all experiencing. So much fun. Guys, it's getting so much easier to communicate these thoughts with people because it's touching on so many different areas of awakening and having a lot of fun with it. That's for sure. So it is definitely great to see you all. Thanks for being here, everybody. And it's great to be part of it with you. So, Clay, Under the Seal. I have not read the book, so I'd like to do that one day, maybe. But clay is one of the oldest tools on record. They have the science lies tell us that 29, 20, 30,000 years ago, um, paleo, Paleolithic man was using clay, and it's such a versatile tool. They say man was made out of clay. They make ceramics out of clay. Electrical components or resistors are made out of clay. Um, the mechanical realm has indirectly described clay because that's how they dated the Antikythera mechanism was through the pottery that they found scattered about the site with it. And what indicates the age of the pottery was the neck, the handle, and the spout. So, and that's a pretty accurate way of dating ancient pottery. So, anyway, should be a great show, guys. Really, thanks a lot for being here, and I can't wait to see what happens tonight. This will be interesting. So, welcome everyone. Thanks, Vika.
Oh yeah, welcome, brother. And yes, things come up, and this topic had to come up because these people were just arguing so many things about this in the comments, and
Mm.
especially if I already had a video about this, so I thought it would be a perfect moment to discuss this because yep. So let's do
Excellent.
that, and then we have with us another star of the mechanical realm, Evelyn. Evelyn, how are you?
Hi, how are you guys? Nice to be back again. I have a coffee in one hand, Bible in the other. I'm ready.
Oh yeah, speaking about the coffee, we drink a lot of coffee, right? We need a lot of coffee because it takes so much of energy for
Yeah, and
doing
it's
all
midnight.
this stuff, right? Yeah, midnight coffee. So anyway, guys, get comfortable, everyone. Also, the ones in the chat, take a coffee or whatever makes you comfortable because we are gonna be trying to dig in deeper tonight with these words and with this topic. So, earth like a clay under a seal.
Yes. The let's say
Mr. Job, they say, like the words for the people is 38:14, right? So
Yes, Job 38:14. I have it open here. And we're gonna go directly to the guilty phrase.
you wanna read the words first, Evelyn?
Yes. What was it? 14. 38:14. Um, well, 38:14 is a very short phrase. It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. But the whole, since the beginning of the chapter 38, this is the book of Job, and Job was written before Genesis. And not that it all happened before Genesis, but it was written before Genesis, before Moses wrote Genesis. So I'm going to read a few more verses just to give you an idea what was being talked about here.
Yep, go ahead.
Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Okay, let's just... Okay, 38:4. Where was thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? And whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. So he's actually talking there about creation, actually. Stretching out the line to measure. I mean, that's quite straightforward. You lay out a line
Description.
in a straight line. And 14, it is turned as clay to this. Oh, here the spring. Yes. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the dayspring to know his place, that it may take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it? It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. So yes, it's actually talking about
Yeah,
about the earth being formed, as on a flat surface, on a face.
so this is from the Bible that everybody follows, right? Even the
Yeah.
Globers and the flat earthers. So there's nothing that there's a different version of flat
No.
earthers.
This
They
this
have
is
these words.
this is
Yeah,
actually a King James version,
yeah.
which I got about 25 years ago from my sister, and this is the one I always use. And I do use
Holy kid,
I
you
do
have
use
a
the Bible Hub.
yeah,
I do use the Bible Hub app, and it's
right.
very good also to, if you want to look for something really quickly, because sometimes I mean, if you have to, sometimes a verse pops into your head and you're like, oh, but I don't know where it is, so you just type in the verse and or a few words, and everything comes out in a search, and then you can quickly see where it was in
Exactly. So if you read it literally,
mm-hmm.
it just so simple way that is trying to
Yes.
say, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
mentioning the foundations, it's mentioning the clay, it's mentioning
Mm-hmm.
the sunrise. If there's different bodies, right? Because if Locke is trying to say that this words is supposed to be as the sunrise and the clay is representing the sunrise,
he was
So
saying that it's the
he's
sunrise
speaking about
over.
exactly. He's speaking about the sun and he's speaking about the earth. It's two different entities, right? So how
Mm,
can you relate it to the shape of the earth with the light,
indeed,
right? So
indeed.
uh exactly. So hey Keith, you're there, right? How you doing, brother? Whoa, Keith was there, but I think something happened to his connection.
Good.
Hey,
Easy come, easy go.
exactly.
He'll come back.
Yeah, I'm not having a great
Don't
connection,
worry,
guys.
people.
Cool. So before we continue, I wanted to mention something. Okay, you guys saw the video that I uploaded about those that a clip that my friend uh, was making that stamp, right? That's a minute clip is from my original video, which is from few years back. You can find it on this channel. It's called the clay is the title. Earth like a clay under a seal. How did I make that video with my friend? I have a really good friend who's a potter, right? And what casuality that his name is Jesus, right? Jesus, right? Because it's and
Very appropriate.
here in Spain, Jesus is a very common name, right? So
Yes.
so my good friend and I tell him, hey, I wanted to try to make this stuff, and we worked on it. Right. First, what we had to do is make the design on the computer, right? Vectorize it. All right, and then after that, give to a guy who laser printed that design on a special wood. That's a soft wood. It's not a hard wood. Those are special wood for laser engraving. So we had to laser engrave that print, that design on that wood. And then with the clay, we had to make the negative from that wood after many, many attempts. And then after that negative from that clay hardened and like baked in oven, and then we could take out the positive, right? So you can see that in the video. You can only see that in the taking out the positive. It's like literally putting the stamp and like really hammering it with a piece of clay. So imagine the work there involved we put here few years ago to just to demonstrate the simplicity of what it could mean, this words, right? Of clay under a steel or a stamp, right? There are many other interpretation for this stamp, but you imagine what the creator had to do to make all this happen, right? Before we continue, Keith, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. I don't know. I keep going in and out. I can hear you guys and not hear you guys, so I don't know what's up.
How are you doing, Keith?
I'm doing good.
So in your experience with the church and the Bible, you came across this verse, right? And even before you were a flat earther, so how did you deal with it?
Back when I was active in Christianity or in a church, flat earth was the farthest thing from my mind. So I never really read any of the Bible from the perspective of knowing or believing that the earth is flat. And I tell people all the time now, I don't believe the earth is flat. I know it is. And for, most of my flat earth journey, I've never really used the Bible for proof or evidence because it is a book for faith. You have to believe a lot of it. And I don't claim to be smart enough or intelligent enough to know exactly which verses in the Bible are metaphor or poetry and which ones are literal. I think Christianity has a lot of problems thinking everything in the book is literal versus, someone else, like maybe someone that might be of like a New Age Eastern religion, thinking everything in the Bible is metaphor. I think it's a mixture of both. And for me, it's okay to say, maybe this, maybe that. I ultimately don't know. But, the flat earth thing is something that the Bible obviously points to the truth that the earth is flat and stationary. You can't say that it's built on foundations, that it has pillars, that it's fixed, that it's immovable. You can't take all of those verses, which there are many of just those about it being stationary, and then say the earth is rotating and revolving and tilting and wobbling. That, the two just don't mix. So my experience with the church, about those verses, I never read those verses thinking about flat earth back in the day, but I have been pretty far removed from the church system or Christianity as a religion for at least 10 or 12 years now. And I feel, for me personally, I have more peace now and more joy now than I ever did when I was what somebody would call a Christian. And that's just me. I mean, and I think a lot of other people are on that same path or journey, trying to seek and find, and maybe seeing some wisdom in the word maybe this, maybe that, instead of being so dogmatic or so adamant that their view or their interpretation is the right one. I think when that arrogance actually blinds us to seeing more of what the truth actually is.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother. But this is the thing, right? Perspective from a person like me, like who is not from that faith, but from as an outsider, seeing it and analyzing it, and doing this video of that uh, clay stuff with my friend, and it was for demonstration. So because what also supports that is because other cosmology says the same thing in a different way, right? It's saying the same words but in a so people from any different culture will support that because it's reflecting. So there's no how do you say, it's like a passion about your religion or your faith, that's why you want to believe it blindly. No, it's not only about that, right? So it's good that we are discussing the topic. So mention a stamp, right? What is actually meaning of stamping something, right?
Yeah.
There are different interpretations according to different people. Like it is said that words from the book of Jobs in the Bible serves as a profound exploration of the cosmic wonders and earthly perspectives. This verse invites readers to delve into the intricate meanings and root words connected to it, while also prompting reflection on the age old debate between heliocentrism and geocentrism. The actual verse, it is changed like a clay and all things stand forth like a garment.
Hey, Vicky, you know what I want to throw in there is that in
Yeah,
geometry, I wanted to say that in geometry, a flat surface is called a face. So if they call something a face, they're describing something as a flat surface. That's a geometry term.
exactly. Exactly. And this is the thing, when you stamp or seal something, you need a base that is flat to stamp it. And the seal or the stamp also needs to be flat. Okay. Imagine can you mute the mic? Who is it? If please mute the mic. We
Oh,
have a lot
sorry,
of
that's me.
background. All right. So this is the thing. Can we imagine someone trying to stamp a globe with a stamp that is a circular or a concave, right? It's just simple words and described in simple words. Because the another way of seeing it also, that there are some interpretation that it's the seal of the God, seal of the creator, that is putting that seal. That is the also one interpretation. But if you see that simple interpretation of a seal of God, of his creation, of his beauty that he has created, he's sealing it that I am the owner of this, right? I made this. So if he's doing that, he's doing the earth have to be flat for him to seal it. How the hell is he gonna seal a globe from everywhere? How many different kind of seals?
That's funny. You know, Vika, I don't know, you might know this, probably do, but back 150 years ago or so, they used to seal envelopes with a wax seal and a flat stamp. And if you were to Google that, you'd see those pictures of the old seals, and they still use them now. You know, like maybe for fancy wedding invitations and stuff like that. Um,
Not
you
only
can
that, but in kids art sets that you can buy in the stores, gifts. They
like the
have
handprint,
they have little seals that you can that they can print with.
right?
You can emboss. It's called embossing, and it's embossing is a way of pressing texture in cardboard.
Right.
Oh yeah, also in the Zen, they do this like a ball with kind of a powder, and they make a seal inside, and they put incense and they burn it. Have you seen that? It's very similar to
No.
the wax seal. Yeah,
Mm.
Okay. They're
but the
really nice.
concept
Some of
is
it,
very. Yeah, go ahead.
no, they're really nice. It's very artistic, you know, and then you can make your own stamp for the seal, your name or logo, whatever it is. You can order stuff like that online.
Oh yeah, and some lotus and many different designs, amazing designs too.
Yeah, definitely.
And even in the different cultures, when they print fabrics, they stamp it, like, on a
Yep.
flat surface, and they need to stamp it really hard so that the impression comes.
Hmm.
And we were doing with this, with the Porter friend, we had to really do it many takes and many times to get the real design with real indentations that are proportionate, right?
Yeah,
you
right. To
know
get the impression you're looking for is not that simple.
exactly.
It's really
Exactly.
not.
See that on the clay, that it says truth in plain sight and flat earth, because that time my channel was just called truth in plain sight with our Vikka Draziv. So it shows that flat earth and truth in plain sight. That's my own video, right? So this is the thing, the stamp and depression, right? We have a geography on this earth that, how do you call, we have plains and we have tundras and different landscapes, right? One of the landscapes that exist on this earth is called depressions. Okay, the lakes, and there are different land areas and basins which are like depressions, like somebody, like, literally
Pressing.
pressed it.
Depression.
Yeah,
It's in the ball
yeah,
itself. It's pressing
exactly.
down.
Yeah, it's a geographical term,
Yes.
depressions. Check it out. Okay, so that's what it's trying to say, that when the creator stamped this earth on the clay also, it's gonna see how it is. It's flat. I'm getting an echo back. Yep. Because if you guys have seen my video about the planes, you see there are different kind of planes, but it's the same thing. It's just saying what it's flat. So depression in itself, that geographical term, also means flat. So if
Mm.
this earth is being stamped by the creator,
Yeah, it's gonna have depressions and elevations, which are high.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and the positive, right?
Yes.
And it's not possible on a globe. It's not possible on a globe. If you
No.
try to imagine all this on a globe, it's not happening.
Well,
You can't
really, that I mean
physically
that's just
go.
because you don't understand gravity, Vika. I mean the gravity makes the depression.
Gravity.
Can't
A
you
weak, a weak
you just
spot in the
hear
mantle.
can't you hear somebody making that argument?
You know, arguments are so weak anymore. It's kind of pathetic at times, but you know, the depressions was described in Flatten the Curve as one of the descriptive terms used all across the the earth, in the oceans, and everywhere. All of the descriptive terms are related to flat and level things. The wetlands, the depressions, the plains, the shelves, all, like over 20 different terms used for flat.
Oh, oh yeah, the ice sheets, the tundras, the tablelands, the grasslands,
Yeah,
the
the Florida wetlands, the
exactly.
basins.
It's
Oh,
all mean
bro, it's just
flat.
even the ocean. The
Exactly.
floor, actually, the floor of the ocean. Let's be a little more descriptive because the top is obviously flat. There's no measurable curve. So, and then you get to the bottom and it's described as flat also, just like the land. It's pretty funny, guys.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be how you say connected plains, Great Plains and plains, and mention the steppe. All this stuff is all connected together as one piece of land, and it's all supposed to be like how you say the impression, right? So
I don't know, bro. I don't know what it's gonna take, but we'll just keep forging ahead.
oh yeah. So it's if you go to some of the root words from these in the Hebrew, the word changed implies to transformation, suggesting a shift or alteration in form. So this could be real, could be manipulated, could be a different version of what it really means, right? But we're trying to see what all they try to put out there. Right? The word emphasize on dynamic nature of creation, constantly going change and renewal. Yeah, it happens also. It happens on the flat earth, but not in the space. We'll go into that a bit later. But before that, what else I wanted to mention? Yeah, the depressions and the ponds, even the ponds and the lakes, the topography, right? The higher grounds, the lower grounds, right? The contours, right? We are not saying the earth is flat. The majority is flat, right? The maximum amount of flatness and plain is majority, including the seas, more than 70%. So 30%, there is going to be other kind of topography. And we don't deny that this exists. We are not saying that it's all flat like table everywhere, right? It would be
Right.
really it would be boring, right? So
Well, the Netherlands is very boring. It's very flat.
I would love to
but
see
it's
the flat
beautiful, yeah.
Netherlands then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can see who's coming to visit 2 weeks. Over 2 weeks.
How can you see that far?
You can see that far away.
You can see 2 weeks
So
ahead. That's pretty cool.
yeah, you can see who's coming.
Florida is flat too. When I lived in Florida, I was said you could stand on a 2-story building and see Georgia from Florida. It's so flat. And that was when I was a space fan back in the 80s, 87. I was like 18 when I moved to Florida. Saying stuff like that just because that's what it is. I was describing what I was looking at, never realizing. Right, Keith? You can see what from those condos from 20 miles away, perfectly vertical. All of these things we're starting to see. It's,
Yeah, it's not just the 70% water. I mean, 30% land, but probably 50% of that land. So maybe as much as 85% is observably and measurably flat from Florida to Kansas to the Netherlands, as well as the abyssal plains underneath the ocean. I tell people all the time, it's much of the land above the oceans and a lot of the land beneath the oceans is perfectly flat.
Oh
no.
yeah, brother. That's the thing. My one of my first video here, which really got attention, was that video about the planes, right? And there it also mentions about all these planes and also Netherlands. Netherlands means neither land, no land, because it's almost under the sea
Wow.
and it's so
Yeah,
flat.
it's also known as the lowlands.
Exactly, the lowlands, flatlands, but is the meaning is the same. Netherland means flatland. In reality, they
Yeah,
didn't put flatland instead of Holland.
yeah. Whole. Well, in Dutch, whole land, whole is a hole.
Man, we're surrounded.
a flat hole laugh.
Yeah. Oh. So commenting on this list that Locke brought out, which was made by who was it? Nathan Roberts. And that list, I had been seeing it being shared around on Facebook and other media, and of course I picked it up, and and I just left it, in my photos, in my things. And a few months ago, I actually thought, well, I'm going to look them up, see what they say, because they only have the book and the chapter and the verse. I'm saying, okay, but what does it say? And I found out actually that most of them didn't say anything about the shape of the earth or about creation, who created it. There was nothing. So I think I looked through most of them, maybe half of them, and I was getting quite frustrated because I'm thinking, well, this list is going around, and people are just taking it for granted that those are all flat Earth, yeah, points that the Bible has, but it's not so. So my message to anyone who comes across this sort of information, memes and all that, check it out for yourself, because it might not be, totally true, partly true, because there were verses which do make a reference to either the shape or the foundations or the firmament or who created it. So yeah, just do a bit
Be
of your
aware.
own
Be aware
investigation also.
that there is also a lot of misinformation with those
Yes.
verses, right? Because of
Mm.
some
which makes
gatekeeping.
which makes it
Yep.
which makes the only the Bible look worse, because somebody is stating something as fact, and then you go and look it in the Bible and you say, well, that hasn't got anything to do with anything. I mean, it's not even close. So
Evelyn,
yes.
Evelyn, does the Bible mention any other worlds being created in the same way or any other fashion? What, you know?
No. um
Exactly, because he speaks about Mars and all this stuff. From where he's getting
no
that?
planets, no planets. You
Right.
have
Exactly, no
the
speaks about no life on other
no
planets, and he's
no
speaking about
no
like
planets at all.
there's
Not,
You
so
have
not
special.
the moon, the sun, the stars. You have the special stars, which are known as wandering stars,
right,
which we know as the planets.
but they're not described as anything physical, though, are they?
No, no,
Okay.
all the stars, including the wandering stars, they're described as angels, as beings,
Right.
and they do have a overseer, so another angel that actually guards them,
Okay.
so that they stay in their course.
All right. So
That's what
they're very
happens with the
descriptive.
fallen angel. That's what happens with the fallen angels. They
Okay.
step, they just came out of their prescribed positions, and
Okay.
Exactly. So that's what is
mm,
cherry picking. These people that are gonna go and see the meaning of this verse,
mm,
right? Where it's literally, it's not speaking about any other worldly life other
Right.
than the earth and all these planets, and what are they serve
mm,
more than as gods or entities or energies or whatever.
Yeah. A vibration. part of the system.
It does in the Bible. They do mention the constellations, so the groups of stars. For example, here in Job, I still have it open in Job. I'm just looking through quickly, and it says in 38 verse 31. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades or loose the bands of Orion? So he's making a statement here of the constellation Pleiades and the and Orion. It's a group of stars. So they are the group of stars. The constellations, just they stay with each other. It's sort of a group, and they have a meaning that was in the before the flood in the old days, and after the flood also, because I think I mentioned Joseph having some kind of intercalation technology with stars and all in
Oh yeah, you
another
mentioned in the
podcast.
documentary. Yeah,
Yeah.
also in the documentary. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And so in this intercalation of the stars and the sun and the moon, they know about the constellations, and the constellations have meanings. So, and they would be able to interpret what was going on by looking at the stars. For example, when Abraham was born.
Where is this mentioned in the Bible, right?
I think it's in the whole story of Abraham is.
No, this particular thing that you're speaking about, the
Oh yeah,
constellation
this
and
in
the
the Bible. Yeah.
stars. Yeah, exactly. So this is part of
Yeah, Orion
astronomy,
and
or
Pleiades. It's mentioned. They're mentioned. The constellations are
okay,
mentioned.
okay. So it's literally mentioned, the astrology, whatever you want to call it,
Yes.
to follow the stars is actually written in the Bible, but there would be many would disagree and call it demonic or whatever. Okay, so
Well,
if you're
because
literally finding following the Bible, don't misinterpret of what's being used, because this have been used by many culture in many ways. It's nothing
yes.
have to be. Yeah, go ahead.
No, the thing is the Catholic Church, which we know everything about that, so I'm not going to go into that. They have taught us that astrology and to read the stars and all that is satanic, is bad. So everybody just keeps away from it because they don't want anything to do with satanic thing. And the cat is in the plant. Sorry. So so people just keep away from it. But when you actually read, and this is this has been taken out of the Bible, that the story of Joseph with the intercalation maps and technology, because I mean, to actually say that this was used, this was common practice of the high priests then, of the I think it was the Melchizedek order, in the times of Noah and Seth. So if they would admit that this was a good practice, a not satanic, then I think there would have been more people trying to study the stars. But
Well, you know
the
what,
only
guys?
ones that, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh, so they want to keep that knowledge to themselves. So you get all these rich people that have card readers, tarot readers, and fortune tellers and all that. But I mean,
Oh yeah,
then you have to,
the
yeah,
millionaires don't use astrology, the basic astrology. Yeah, and they gonna
astronomy.
demonize to the rest of the people. There's nothing. It's the
Yes.
creation, the sun and the moon and everything it does for us as light source or energy source is a created by the creator. There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
demonic
This
about it. Okay,
it
if you're
was
gonna
very,
find demons, if you're gonna find
yes.
demons in everything, maybe you have
Mm-hmm.
to start looking inside first, right? Go ahead.
Yes.
You wanted to add something more? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yes. Yes. It was very plainly put, in Genesis in the first, that the stars, the sun, the moon, and the stars, they were put in the firmament for seasons and for signs. So, I mean, signs of what? Well, signs of what was happening at the moment.
Signs to control for the cycles, for to
Yeah.
keep the calendar, to
Yeah.
timekeeping. Yeah,
And signs of what was happening, because, for example, with when Abraham was born, there was a certain constellation, and the stars in certain positions. So when the scribes saw that, they knew that there was, it had to do with Abraham and the king that was Nimrod. So they actually told the king Nimrod, "Hey, this young this baby that's been born, which was I think that Abraham's father, Terah, was a he belonged in the court, in the noble, in the castle. So they knew about the baby. But the scribes told Nimrod that baby you know, would be responsible for his downfall, for his destruction. So actually, Nimrod ordered Abraham's father to bring the baby so that he could kill him, get rid of him. So Abraham went back, and what he actually did was bring back a baby of one of his concubines, one of his servants that had the baby around the same time. And Nimrod actually killed that baby. What happened then was that Abraham was sent with his mother, who was sent away, and from there he went further on to, I think, to be with I think he was with Noah a few years before he died, and with his son Seth. So he learned the ways of, of all the order of the Melchizedek, and he had a high education. He had a biblical, following the God's laws and all that. So when he came back, he had to kick some ass. So
oh yeah.
yeah, it's a very interesting story. The story of Abraham. It's my favorite story, and most of it I find it in the book of Joshua. It's a whole about 40 pages of the whole life of Abraham. It's really interesting. It's really because in the Bible, they have a very compressed, short version. Um, they let a very short version in the Bible, but you can tell them. You can read
Oh yeah.
most of it in the book of Joshua. It fills up a lot
Cool.
of gaps.
Cool. So one thing I also wanted to mention, relating that in some of the interpretation about this verse,
Hmm.
this one is supposed to be one expository English Bible. I don't know exactly which one it is, but it says, as a clay to the seal. Okay. In the darkness, every object is without form and void, just as a clay or wax, just a lump of clay or wax, right?
Hmm.
Which has no distinctness of shape. There is no distinctness of shape till the seal is applied. Okay, so we take that action of a material, and a seal is applied to that material, which is supposed to do the clay, and then the impression is clear and manifest. So it
Yes.
cannot be more simple than this. I don't know which Bible is it, but or from which one is it, but it says so much clear there in those words. In the
Mm-hmm.
darkness, every object is without form and void, just as clay or wax, which has no
Yes.
distinctness of shape till the seal is applied.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So I'm going to change the subject just a little bit, but we'll stay on scripture. Tim Greer called me, the guy that was kind of the instigator of that whole debate between the two guys. He's
Okay.
a cowboy, the country boy, redneck, just with some common sense. And out of everything that's been said the last week, the ripple effect of the debate, I tend to think Tim's version is the most accurate and probably the most humble out of everything that's been said. But anyway, he called me today and said, Keith, will you go on a video with me and we can talk about the buildings and architecture? I said, sure, I will. He said, I want to challenge every pastor out there in America to tell me who built these buildings and where these buildings came from. And I said, Tim, come on. You know that, shepherds and fishermen, they built those buildings everywhere. Come on, you know this. so the historical narrative that we get from Christianity and even other religions, that these primitive people who were shepherds and fishermen built these unbelievable, huge structures everywhere. It should make you question your religion. It should make you question the scripture, the Bible. I mean, some of the Bible is as clear as you just said, Vikka. It's simple. It's so the truth is simple. We keep saying on here. Some of it as clear as it can be. It's as simple as it can be. But other parts need to be questioned and considered. And even like this one, like the buildings that we see everywhere. I mean, where you live in Spain, I would love to visit you, Vikka, and just go around to all the buildings there and see that. But who built that? Was it really shepherds and fishermen from the Bible days? Or was it somebody who had more knowledge and more skill than we can possibly imagine today? So, as we're on this path of seeking and finding, it's okay to question your religion. It's okay to question Christianity or Catholicism or whatever religion you may subscribe to, whatever persuasion you might be of. It's okay to question that. You shouldn't be afraid to question your beliefs. In fact, I think questioning what you believe is one of the best things you can do to grow and actually create more peace and more joy in your life. So that's my opinion for whatever it's worth.
Oh yeah, brother, that's what even in the TMR, right? It's the same way because as we mentioned that the timelines don't click with how technology wise and the construction wise, and the antikythera mechanism wise and the dates and things are not matching because they have made it up. So it's nothing that any religion is wrong or because that timeline is not squaring up. If we're gonna dig in, we're gonna find the truth because that's what it's all about. Filtering out. The more we filter, the more deeper understanding we have. And sometimes you gotta face the challenge. You gotta face the opposition. You gotta face what they're, and then you're gonna find the truth, right? The same thing that we later in the podcast that we're gonna discuss. That even if Greg Locke that he was so sure that his one verse is going to destroy Dean Orlo's whole this. But if we're going to really look into it, maybe there is some connection of truth there in his understanding. But in reality, it's literally telling you again that the earth is flat, right? We're going to go into that too. Yeah. So
Well,
first,
that just showed that him coming prepared with that showed how little prepared he was.
oh yeah, exactly.
Guys, before you guys were talking about all the stars and everything and the planets and the sun and the moon reminded me of what we just did about the Antikythera mechanism, right? You guys were talking about when I asked about if the any of the planets or any of the other heavenly bodies had descriptive, creation similar to clay under a seal, and they don't, right? But so really, they were talking about the ecliptic and it's all in the mechanical realm. So it makes me wonder really how old that really is. Always has, though, and hearing stuff like that helps me maybe get closing of really where the Antikythera mechanism really came from. Right, because they say it could have been stamped with all that Greek stuff, but it could have been made in China 1,000 years before it was over there.
Oh yeah. So we have to be open in all aspects, in
Sure.
research-wise, science-wise, religion-wise, right? Psychology. Everywhere we have to.
You got to leave the possibilities
everything.
open, right? Because what happened, a week before you became a flat earther, the possibility wasn't there until you left that possibility open, and look what happened. So, yeah, I don't rule anything out. Like Keith would say, right, Keith? It's all lays in the realm of maybe. Sure, maybe, probably not, but often, right, with narrative going on.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna go get into the second part of this. So we're gonna just take a short break, and we're gonna be right back. It's not even gonna be a minute. I'm just gonna play the trailer of the mechanical realm, as I mentioned before. Yeah, we just got a boost of another couple of thousands of views in these 2 days. So if you guys have not checked, do check, or pass it to your friend and family, and do also leave there, because that really helps too. So I'm gonna play the trailer of the mechanical realm, and we're gonna be right back in a minute. Don't go anywhere, because we're gonna be going a bit deeper on this. All right, so we'll be back.
Cool.
"2,000 years ago, a shipwreck created a time capsule. Hidden beneath the waves, untouched by time. The secrets it held would challenge our understanding of the past and reveal the incredible ingenuity of our ancestors. Journey with us as we dive into the depths of history, uncovering the enigmatic ancient marvel that defies the limits of its time. Rediscovered a century ago by another shipwreck, nature seemed to guard its secrets, preserving a device that would rewrite our understanding of ancient technology. The mechanical realm beckons us to unlock its mysteries. Through history, archaeology, astrophysics, and astronomy, we embark on a quest to decipher the intricate workings of the past. The pieces of the puzzle come together as we explore the convergence of art, science, and philosophy. A true masterpiece of craftsmanship, gives us a glimpse into the minds of ancient engineers and their quest to understand the cosmos.
Testament to the importance of astronomy in ancient Greek culture, reflecting the desire of Greek astronomers and mathematicians to understand the workings of the cosmos.
Everything moves over the surface of our flat and stationary Earth. Nothing goes around the sun. The sun is not the center.
One inside the other and inside the other 9 times. The tolerance is not of a millimeter. Thickness of a fingernail, but 1/10 of a millimeter.
Where the ancients could tap into this far deeper, far more profound wisdom and knowledge. In doing so, they were able to create such a brilliant mechanism that lived inside a beautiful realm that was designed as a timepiece with mathematics and fractals built within everything in the fabric.
This body is a combination of all these sides together in one device, working in perfection reflecting the movement, the only movement above to a geocentric stationary platform.
Prepare for an extraordinary journey where hidden truths come to light. The secrets of the mechanical realm will redefine our perception of history and reshape our appreciation of the past and shape of our Earth. Get ready to witness the unveiling of the extraordinary, a geocentric stationary flat Earth working model that has defied the passage of time. The mechanical realm awaits you.
All right, welcome back, guys. That was the trailer of the Mechanical Realm, now already available on this channel. And yes, what an awesome show we're having today. We have Gene, Evelyn, and Keith with us. So, the Earth like a clay under a seal. It is turned as a clay to the seal, as the seal makes a beautiful upon the clay, which is in itself had no form. So the Earth takes that form, right? And it also mentioned about the topography stands out as garment. I don't know how they try to connect that garment analogy to a spear, because if we speak about the impression, that is the indentations which are lower and the higher, right? So it stands out like a garment. What does it really mean? I've seen the beautiful valleys. Have you guys seen the Himalayas in its true beauty, with the blue sky in the background and those white snow caps, 30,000 feet? Looks like a beautiful dress. Have you seen the valleys, the colors of the valleys? Have you seen the forests, the trees, right? Have you seen the seas? What are these? What does it look like? It looks like a tapestry of the creation. What is the meaning of tapestry? A material, like cloth like material. Why is it called the fabric of the universe, right? Fabric. What is fabric? Garment. So all these mountains, these valleys, those trees, the sky above, right, looks like a garment. Have you seen a desert during a sunset?
You know, and I like to describe the air as like God itself, right? And the air is the fabric that connects us all.
The
I didn't
the
make that
the
up. I heard this somewhere.
firmament,
Thought it was really cool.
yeah, the firmament is described in the Bible as a garment.
Oh yeah, the aurora borealis. How does it look like? It looks like those, like wrinkles of the skirts. Right? Even the valleys, some of the erosion and the way it's formed the mountains, right? Even the seas, the waves looks like a skirt of a flamenco dancer, right? It's literally saying there is no connection of a spear earth there, relating it to the word garment. Okay, so as I said, the desert, the rocks, there's so much different geography. All these things stands out. Have you seen those mountains with many colors? Yeah, have you seen those green lush valleys? And it looks, if you really see it as a whole, it looks like a fabric. It looks like a print, the divine print, right? You see the animals with all their prints on them, right? The flowers, everything that create the, even the cosmos in a way, right? Spiral, it's like a print, right? A virtual print on a fabric, print on a garment, right? So all this topography of different levels that we see around us on these plains, or not the plains, or even the ice sheets, as we mentioned, or the table plans, or the tundras, these all are like a fabric or layer of garment that has these prints on them, right? The beauty of the intelligent design, right? That's the connection of garment there. And I don't know how these people are trying to connect it with a globe, with the word garment there. So we saw that the stamp, the clay, the level, the impression, the depression, and the word garment in there. So what is it presenting? The garment is also said, right? It's for aesthetics and it's for necessity, right? It has two purpose. It has two purpose, right? A necessity, right? We need garment, we need clothes. That's a necessity first, right? And then it's for aesthetics, right? To look however you want to look. You want to look hip hop, punky, whatever, right? So it serves that. So even on the earth, it's serving for two purpose, right? First is as a fabric, as a layer, have that print there on that layer to see the beauty of the creator in so many colors, in so many designs, in so many variations that even our mind couldn't imagine, right? Okay, apart from these stressed out cities and everything, you go back in the nature, it's crazy. Yeah. And we could just go in details about all this geographical land and beauty that it's created, which works as a garment, which shows the importance. We know the importance of all these geographical structures for us to survive on this earth or on this plane, right? It's a necessity for that, but it's also serving as a to show the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, someone told me years ago, I'm talking about 30, 35 years ago, I was doing a Bible study and they were just talking about the difference between humans being made in the likeness of God versus the animals. And he said, you don't really see a cow standing on the side of a hill looking at a sunset going moo. But there's something in us as people who have a spirit and have self-awareness or consciousness that we enjoy beauty. And there's things in this earth and in the sky that's just a mystery, but they're beautiful. And we can just stand in awe and enjoy the beauty of this creation or the beauty of this system and marvel at it. We don't have to understand everything. And that's part of the marveling, or part of the beauty, is that we don't get it all. We don't understand it all, but we can still look at it and admire it because there was something put in us or created inside of us to enjoy beautiful things.
Oh yeah, brother, absolutely. So the other thing he mentions that he's really, I think that is his main proof that the earth is a globe, is because he thinks that his words is connected with sunlight. Okay, now connecting the expression, the garment, and now comes the sunlight. And many, even flat earthers, also think that has to do something with the sunlight. And there are interpretations as that it's speaking about the sunlight, that when it comes, it like just it takes away the darkness, right? So the connection here is that the garment, right, then in the night, for example, the sky is beautiful, right? The stars, right? Other than that, we don't see anything, right? Who is the giver of life, right? Is when the sun comes out. All right, so when the sun comes out, and there they are trying to uh, twist it in a way like the wax or the clay. So the sunlight is acting like a wax or a clay, all right, according to them, and it's moving. All right, let's let's think that it's like that. Okay, he's speaking about the sunlight, and it's acting like a wax or a clay under a seal. Okay, it has its own sense, right? The sunlight is coming and it's lighting everything up. So you start seeing the beauty of the garments. The real beauty of the earth we see in the daylight. Yeah, we have to agree on that, right? The real colors, the real vibrant, even the most darkest thing, like becomes vibrant, right? So all these garments, all these different colors during the time of the year, be it season, be it autumn, spring, summer, right? It's all changing colors. It's all changing colors and right. So what it's doing, it's showing, bringing out the beauty of the creation, right? So there's no any problem with that, okay? That the sunlight is acting like that to bring light to every corner, so that every beauty of it can be seen by every soul that inhabits this plane. All right, perfecto, no problem there. But still, if you're speaking about that this sunlight is acting like a wax or a clay, this has to be sandwiched between two layers, okay? Same as a stamp. When you stamp, you need a flat base, you need the clay, or you need the seal, right? Sandwiched between two layers, so it acts like a clay or a wax. So in flat earth, we have a flat plane, right? We have the sky above, and we also know that there's some kind of barrier, so the sunlight is moving, is getting sandwiched between these two layers, okay? And literally proving that the sunlight problem with these people is proving that the earth is flat, because in a globe earth there is nothing to be sandwiched between the sunlight. How can you sandwich the sunlight, which is 93 million miles away, on your globe model, right? On a flat earth model, it's literally sandwiched. We know that the sun is supposed to be in the dome, right? The barrier, however shape it is, right? That's another whole discussion in itself. But it's been sandwiched between that layer, and it's acting like a wax or a clay under a seal, right? There is no sphericity here, even if you see that works in that manner, right? So
Yeah, I think one of the main verses that Greg tried to use is when he talked about the word worlds in the book of Psalms. And that was probably the best point of the whole debate, when Dean got up there and rebutted that and said, no. The original Hebrew for that word is the word eons, which means ages. It doesn't mean planets. I mean, it was a huge stretch for Greg to try to say that word worlds means the planets that are over the earth. But Dean did a phenomenal job at that point to pull out the original language and say it meant eons, which means ages, not planets. I think that was the one verse he was trying to go with to try to prove his point of the earth being a globe, which he failed miserably. I mean, yes, it ended in a train wreck. It was a debacle, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, a lot more people heard about a biblical cosmology, an ancient Hebrew cosmology, which we can still observe and measure today.
oh yeah, absolutely, brother.
And the
Yeah,
Antikythera mechanism proves that.
Exactly.
also,
I told you guys, I will tell the people listening to the podcast, Austin Whitsitt was doing a debate with some PhD in physics or something, I think, a couple nights ago. And he brought up the Antikythera mechanism and mentioned the mechanical realm. Jaron, who was the moderator of the debate, he goes, yeah, I saw it. It's good. So, we've already got some other key flat earth proponents that are out there teaching this stuff and arguing for it every day, already mentioning and promoting the mechanical realm for us, which is great.
oh yeah, brother. This truth, the time is come for the people to start using it. It's naturally going to come in the conversation and in the discussion, because there is no way out for globers from this, right? And the moment somebody starts speaking about a model and geocentric and there is no other thing to speak about, because that just destroys the globe, the mechanical realm.
Yeah, I love to ask them. It's like, well, where is the heliocentric model that's 2,000 years old? They come up with their false claim. Well, the Greeks knew 2,000 years ago. They knew. Okay, they knew, but where's the model?
right?
Here's the model of the geocentric flat and stationary model. The
by
working
by the
model,
Greeks.
yeah,
Yeah.
by the Greeks right here. But where is the heliocentric model? They don't have one.
Oh yeah, and, physical wise, uh, we have physical, we have a scientific thing, but these people just have theories, so they're gonna keep continuing like that. I think we, as a community, as of flat earthers, for us, this mechanism is a progress, like a really important progress, because I think many of flat earthers didn't waited for this, and it's like just like falling in your lap. Imagine being a flat earther and you have no idea about this, and you are it's like falling in your lap a model, a working model, which has been all these years have been there, right? Just hidden in the face, right? The best place to hide is in the face. So they did a great job doing that, and now it's like it's there for all the flat earthers. So the people like need to take advantage of that. So, oh yeah. And the other thing I also wanted to mention about to the garments, and yeah, you want to add something, Gene, brother, before I continue?
No, I'm good, man.
Cool.
Cool.
So this is the thing, they could say, hey, the vacuum barrier is what is sandwiching the sunlight between the earth on a sphere, right? How it's gonna be a barrier? There is no barrier. And how can you sandwich the sunlight if it's gonna be 93 million miles away? It's crazy. And the other thing he mentions about change and transformation, right? That the earth is, according to them, it's expanding, right? It's like proving the globe earth, because the space is expanding according to their interpretation. But the real word is change. What it means, that it only means that it's alive, right? The earth is alive. You all remember we had a podcast called Is Everything a Mechanism, right? We spoke about how these different cycles and how these different systems, like like water cycle, right? The jet streams, the winds, the tides, right? The seasons, right? Uh, Everything is constantly changing, moving, breathing, right? It's not a dead realm. It's still, but it's not a dead realm, right? The electromagnetic fields and everything is moving, right? The toroidal field above us, all the whole constellation and all the luminaries moving about above us. So all is constantly changing. It's the winter, it's the sun, it's the summer, it's the equinox, right? Everything is moving, right? Constantly changing, right? The different eons, the different ages, right? It's not going to be just always the same thing. These changes are a necessity for this earth to function. There is nothing. And if these people are going to misinterpret and put it in their fake space universe as it's expanding, look here what is changing every day, every hour, all right? How the life cycles are going from smaller cycles to bigger cycles, but they all are interconnected like the mechanism. Even here or system is important for the function of the whole mechanism, the apparatus, right? So these people, for expanding in the space, is all just a bad interpretation, right? Like of other worlds. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the evolution is really within the individual as you grow. Not some fantasy thing that these guys try and put on everybody. That's a good one. I talked to a lot of people lately, guys, and all of these subjects are getting easier to relate to with people. Like, not a lot of people believe evolution's real that I run into. All the moon landings. Moon landings are going. That's fake. So you can get right into that subject and take it further than that. ISS and all the money spent. So it's great that these topics are getting easier to talk about with people.
Oh yeah, you gotta see it with the right eye, right? So you
Definitely.
wanna, Evelyn, you wanna add some other words, or you wanna add something so that we can try to break it down more, connected to that words and to the clay under a seal after all
Yes,
the
well, maybe
things we.
some other verses from the list um, which do pertain to the shape and all and the firmament. A quick list, a quick reference is in Isaiah 40:22. It mentions, it is reference to the earth. The earth is a circle. In Proverbs 8:27, made with a compass. In Genesis, it's laid upon a face, so it's a the face in the face of the deep. In Job, it is mentioned that which is bounded. So bounded is brought together. Also in Job, it's mentioned at its ends. So there is an end to the land. There's an end line, an end frontier. In some, it does not move, and the reference to that does not move, that it's set on pillars, it's set on foundations, that is repeated again and again and again in many verses. And in Genesis also is covered by a dome. So I mean, what's more, clear than that? Above and below is water, so there is water still, which is also mentioned in a couple other verses, because according to the Bible itself, you need at least two witnesses for something. So you can be sure that these things are mentioned again and again by different people living in different generations, apart from each other. So it's not that they're all just getting together and writing the book all in one piece, but the Bible is written in it was written in a few hundred years, within a span of a few hundred years. So people didn't, the writers didn't actually, get together and say, hey, yes, we're going to make this story and this story, and how, what did you hear? What did you hear? No, they just got down and wrote it like it happened. And it's very you can actually read the whole Bible from cover to cover, and it's one story. It's the story of the earth. It's not made up of bits, different kinds of stories which don't have anything to do with each other. It's all related. So the most I think the most important one obviously is the one in Genesis, which tells us very clearly what was made and when and how, and yeah.
Oh yeah, it's quite clear, right? That there
Yes.
are speaking about different things, right?
Mhm.
Sunlight, the garment, the earth in itself. I don't know how these people are trying to connect the shape of the earth with these words here.
Yes. Yeah. For example, in 1 Samuel 1 Samuel, first Samuel, chapter 2, verse 8. And back from that spell. Just a quick reference here. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. So that is a reference that is made time and time again. 9:6. What do I have here? In Job 9:6, which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble.
Exactly. So what they do with what they do with the pillars and all this stuff, right? The globers, uh,
Mhm.
how they connect the pillars on a globe.
The pillars, they are also known as foundation. Oh, good, the cat is playing with the cable now. As what they do is they interpret pillars as a foundation, and then what they do is that in the Catholic Church, or whatever, actually whatever church, that don't take it literally, they explain the foundation as the foundation of the church, not the foundation of the earth or a building, but the church, the forefathers of the church, the ones who build up the churches of Christianity and all that. So that's that's how in their indoctrination they have changed the meaning of the word foundation, which from the Greek, I don't know what the word is, but the word in Greek means something solid, like, well, just like that, just like a foundation that you have under the house. You need a
Exactly, a
good ground
base.
foundation to
Yeah.
put the house on, otherwise it sinks. So those are the pillars of the earth. It's our foundation so that we don't sink, because there's water under. There's water above and there's water below.
Oh yeah.
So we need foundations, otherwise we sink.
So let me ask you something then. I'm wondering about the old buildings we see
Yeah.
that are been claimed by these guys, and they often have those big columns, those pillars. Does that have anything? Is that any representation or anything like that? Does that have
No,
anything to do with each other?
just, I
Nothing.
think those are just pillars to make the house, to make the building high enough for the giant people that were actually, living at the time. Because
Okay.
those most of the buildings, well, most, I think all, they have very, very tall entryways or very tall doors with the locks placed 3-4 meters high up. I mean, who's gonna
Right.
climb up the door to lock the door?
Yeah.
So yes, what's happened through the ages is that the size of the giant itself has diminished, because
Yeah.
it's a sort of you can see it as a sort of a dilution in the gene, which makes it smaller and smaller and smaller, because of the number of giants, and being probably you have a dominant gene and then you have a recessive gene. It was probably a recessive gene then. So yeah, you need 2 recessive genes to actually show the
Yeah, you have both possible, like in the genetics,
yeah.
right? Dwarfism and giantism, right?
Yep.
Everything is possible.
Yes, I think that's where the dwarfism also came about, because they were playing with DNA. They were actually playing around with all kinds of DNA. So you get very small people, because and also the Down syndrome is also an extra chromosome in the DNA. I mean, how did that extra chromosome get there? I think because they were playing around with DNA. And of course, it is a recessive gene.
Well, you know that they are now, though. You know, and they
Mm-hmm.
and they
Oh
kind of
yeah,
have that.
and also in the past, right? If they
Yeah,
the genetic manipulation is seen in all the culture. If you see with the combination of hybrids and
Yes,
for
that
sure.
that that
The
was the whole that was the whole reason for the flood, actually, because people, men, were corrupting everything. And when they mean corrupting, what they mean is genetically corrupting. They were mixing animals between other animals. They were also mixing animals with people with human DNA, and of course they still had the DNA from the giants, so they were using that as well. So they were messing everything up.
look at
And
the Umbrano Monte map has hybrid creatures on it too,
yes,
right?
indeed, yes, yeah,
And they had
yeah,
incubator babies in all over the place in the
yes. The incubator
1890s
babies.
and
That's something
all kinds of craziness.
yeah, the incubator babies. That's something I can't get around with because, I mean, uh, why would they need incubator babies at all? I mean,
They could be some genetic hybrid recording or something, like a MK Ultra or something. It could be. It's just who really knows? But
yeah,
some GMO kind of human walking around. Let them
mm,
loose, and they could maybe track them back then and plant things. So who really knows?
yeah. Or maybe it's
What
just a
happened to
psyop.
these people too? Did they
Or
ever
maybe,
what?
or maybe it's just a psyop to, you know, part of making it a part of the Tartaria psyop. Because I mean, the Tartarias, I came across Tartaria, and I'm thinking, well, it doesn't fit into what I've learned, into what I'm seeing. That Tartaria story, it's not completely computing in my brain. It's not fitting anywhere. So when I learned about what the Tartarian buildings look like, I mean, they are huge, where the giants could fit in. Many of them have depictions of angels and
And demons, the
demons, yeah, and
gargoyles
harpies.
and yeah.
So I'm like, that fits in very, very good in in the pre pre-flood world, where there were more giants. There were people were depicting what they were seeing in stone, coming them with all this technology, because we know that we've seen photos of these carvings, which everybody says, yeah, well, yeah, with a with a hammer and chisel. No way, they had a technology to do that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
And
that's almost kind
yeah,
of obvious at this point. Something
yeah,
happened whether they were able to,
exactly. And all
harden
this tech,
some sort of
yeah,
clay. Just because it's
yes,
stone
all
for
this,
us now doesn't mean that's what it always was, or
exactly, yeah.
that it's just different things that if
Mm,
if we don't learn it somewhere, we're like mostly often kind of like, wow, we can't do that.
yeah, but
yes, and
who knows that these constructions could be thousands of years old.
Right,
yes, they are.
right.
Thousands.
Just exactly.
They,
Yeah, bro.
that's why
It was
this
real
mud
important to tear a lot of
flood.
them down too, obviously.
That's but that is the mud flood idea, because in the during the flood, obviously everything is covered in water, but uh, I mean, everything was not just nice and quiet and still. I mean, these waters just spout up and everything was just turned, upside down, and the earth was also, it was ravaged. I mean, when they came out of the ark, they had to wait for a whole year for the land to really dry up to be usable. So all this mud and sand and everything that was just, ravaged by the waves, by the water, that had to settle down somewhere. So that's why you get that settling of what they call the
Exactly.
mud
I
floods.
exactly. I think also that it was not actually a mud flood. That this was
No,
because of the flood, all the
Right.
settling down of the.
it was
I think
just
The
a
that's
aftermath of the
it
flood.
was just a settle what
what.
the all the settle down, all the
Yeah, because
from
what is the meaning of alluvial plains? Alluvial plains, the most other alluvial plains, because all the higher points on Earth, after raining, it just flows everything and just levels out,
hmm,
right? That's how the plains are formed, right? And then you have the whole ecosystem growing on that. But that's how the basic concept that it works. So it looks like that's all this mud and clay settle down after the floods, because some speaks about there were three floods, right?
hmm,
Different three floods. Okay, maybe in the Western culture and the Bible it speaks about one flood, but there are some researchers which show that there were few floods and up to three.
hmm, yeah. Well, we know, for example, before the Noah's flood, there was a smaller flood which um, which covered a third of the land. So it was a mini flood to, just as a warning, just as a, cleansing thing, whatever. Um, and that happened before the days of Noah. That happened before Noah. And I think that was the second flood. So Noah's flood was the third flood. The first flood, what I've heard, was the flood that actually destroyed the first earth, before Adam was created. Because it's some people believe that in that there's a sort of a gap. I'm gonna it's the first sentence in the book, in the Genesis book. Some people believe that there's a gap between verse 1 and 2, which says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. Okay, he created heaven and the earth, and then there's a gap. Something happened there, and he destroyed it with water that time again. And then verse 2, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So the water was already there, because it says here God created the heaven and the earth,
After the
but he
flood,
didn't
after the
before.
flood, the water was already there.
Yeah. Yes. No, before the flood. So what I mean is that it says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth, but there's nothing that says that he created the water. The water was already there. So maybe he created the water, beforehand. I don't know, but it's not here in the Bible that he created
Yeah,
it.
yeah, but it
And
maybe it
that's,
was maybe it was his second gig.
yes, his second gig. Yes.
Didn't he
So
say he
there was,
separated the water from the water, though? Isn't it
yes,
there? So maybe
yes,
it's there.
yes. It's really mind-boggling, because when you think about it logically, I mean, because some things you have to, just break them down, and it's like, okay, and we're taking for granted that he created the heaven and the earth, but it doesn't say when he created the water. So it must have been earlier than that.
Right. Yeah, right. Since it's just mentioned.
It was there
Right.
because it's mentioned, and the Spirit of God, that's in verse 2. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And then he created the light and separated the light from the darkness, and that was it. And then God created the firmament to divide the waters from the waters above, from the waters below. And it's quite mind-boggling, because if there was a civilization before this, it was also destroyed for some other reason. Yeah, we don't know what kind of civilization it was, or even if there were people in it. So whatever he created, it seems that it was destroyed by water. So that's why in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form, so everything was just destroyed and void, and then he created again. So I think that's that's what many people believe by saying there were 3 floods: the flood that was before Adam, because there was already water there, and then the mini flood that destroyed a third of the land, and then the big flood, Noah's flood, to reset the whole thing and let it start all over again with only pure animals, with pure DNA. The only thing that wasn't pure were probably one of the wives of one of the sons of Noah. And there's a whole story behind it and all that, so I'm not going to go into that. That's a whole other.
Exactly. And who knows that it's gonna when it's gonna the next flood is gonna be. Definitely we know that was not the last one, right?
Well, it's not the last one,
The
but
the Noah ones was not the last one, and
what
we
we
are
do
not gonna be so ignorant, right?
what we do know is that the rainbow was set as a covenant that God was not going to destroy with water, but he is going to destroy with fire. So the next one is going to be hot.
Well, that
You're
could
gonna,
have already
you're gonna
that could have already
barbecue,
happened. There may,
barbecue, right?
the fire could have already happened too. We could have already had floods. We could have already had fires. I mean, there's evidence, especially in the western part of the U.S. The whole area looks like it was completely scorched. If
Yes.
you start looking into the melted buildings here and there,
Mm.
and I know some of it just looks like speculation and like, oh, well, that's a melted building. Well, maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know, but some of it definitely looks like it has been melted. So I think we don't know. We don't know at all how many floods, how many fires, how many times has the earth been started over or reset. You guys mentioned the incubator babies a little bit ago. I mean, that's a trip, but look into the Cabbage Patch Kids. That's a big trip. The whole Cabbage Patch possibility of little babies being cloned in cabbages. That gets
it's almost the same
crazy.
thing. Yeah, they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
Yes, I could speculate, but for example, that those mountains that look like melted buildings, that happened in that period before Adam, before the creation, our creation story, that it already happened there.
But also could be that
those become our mountains.
Right.
Exactly, that the giants and all the look like petrified giant could be a result of a weapon that could be kind of a laser or heat kind of weapon that abolished
Mm.
everything and created that calcification or
Yes.
crystallization or whatever they want
Mm.
to call it to the
Yes.
rocks, right? Could be that
Um,
weapon of fire. Could be totally.
yes.
Well, just something
In
that turns things to stone, even that
yes. There's yes. There's this guy that does the Mud Fossil University. He's a
Roger
glober,
Stone.
but
No, not
yeah,
Roger Stone. Roger Spur.
yeah. Well, he's a glober,
I
but
know.
his evidence, I mean, screams at me like, oh. And because he's showing all these mountains that actually was biology. So he's explaining what the rocks look like, and this looks like this, and this is this,
Mm-hmm.
and this is these are the veins here, and these are the tendons, and
Yeah.
and
Don't talk
and
to him
what
about flat Earth, Evelyn.
yeah.
Don't. No, he'll
Oh
kick
no,
you
no,
out. He
no,
won't talk to you
no.
anymore. Yep. No,
No,
I'm
no,
telling you.
doesn't
Maybe
like
he's
that.
softened up or whatever. I don't know, but because he did take me back as a friend. He friended me too on my other page, my new page. I was like, oh wow, look at this. So,
Okay, yeah. Well, he's
um,
interested. I think he wants to keep up with the flat Earth news.
I mean, I wondered once or twice if he's just avoiding the subject because it's like taboo still, but that was a while back.
Yes, I
He's
think
got
he's.
great stuff. He's the one he has supposedly he has human DNA results from rock dust that he
Yes,
turned into Yale and Harvard University. And when he
yes,
approached them
that's
with
the
the
one.
results saying, "Look what you gave
Yeah,
me, and look what
but
this is a rock," they
it's a
cut him
very
off and said,
it's a
"Hey,
very interesting what he says about how they turn into stone, because it's it's right on with how it happens in the Bible.
oh really?"
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it's in the book of Joshua
The
or the book of
mineralization
Jubilees,
transfer.
where and in the no, maybe in the book of the Giants itself, book of Enoch, that the the trees were cut down, and the water was coming up, and then the giants were saying, well, we will just cover the holes with our feet, because they were so large that they could just cover the holes,
Right.
the fountains of the deep,
Okay.
when they broke up, when they broke open. And what happened was that, according to in one of the I think Enoch, or the Book of the Giants, according to that book, what happened was then that God made the water to boil, to hot, so that the giants, they were burning, so they couldn't step into the water either. So that
Right.
between these guys, the Mudfossil University, saying that it was a combination of this and this, but the water and the water had to be boiling to have this effect. And I'm like, well, it all fits in. It fits in perfectly with the biblical version,
Right.
which is not only the hot water, well, hot boiling water, but also all that energy coming from all those buildings which had the fallen angel technology, which people call Tataria, and all that free energy out the ether. So there was constant electricity and energy going through the land. And
Right.
well, you know what happens when you mix water and electricity.
Right. The Big Bang created life that way.
Yeah.
So,
So
does Star Force play a role in any of that?
the what?
Star Force?
Oh, the star forts. The star forts,
Yeah.
that was also probably from the angel technology. I
Okay.
mean, what normal person could have thought of that? Really, because it was a technology where they used the natural energy of the earth in the water. So somebody
Yeah.
had to know that.
And you're saying
Somebody had
that,
to teach them that.
and you're saying that angels that were no good built all these things?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
So
definitely would have function, right? The water around the starfort and inside the garden, the trees,
right, the
everything is
cosmetics in the
playing.
windows, the
Yeah,
Yes.
bells,
exact.
They
the
taught
Yeah.
organs.
what what happened is that the angels, the fallen angels, they taught the technology.
Okay.
So the people could build these things all over the earth.
Right, and they give the technology how to work metal too, right? Is that right?
Yes. How to work
Okay.
metal, how to
What's-
carve stone.
So, and what, we're not supposed to? You know, we're not supposed to make instruments to make music?
To make music. Oh yes, music is good.
Right, so what's wrong with the organs and the bells and stuff? Why is that bad, though? I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Well, I don't know how that plays into the whole story.
All right, because I
Oh
always thought
yeah,
it was good. I thought it
Because
was more like a preventative healing kind of attitude
yeah,
towards the old world.
but if the bells are is the was the what is used in all the churches in the West,
I'm
in
sorry,
all
what'd you
the
say?
churches, in all the churches in the West, they all use bells in all the churches and cathedrals, and the biggest, the
Yeah,
most huge bell you can find in the whole town. You have it in the church. So why is it demonic about that? It's just a one frequency. What is it doing there that is
mm,
making you remind every hour that it's giving that bang, right?
well,
Uh,
you have to think. You have to realize that these fallen angels had taught technology to men, but there was also the all the people that were actually following God's laws, and they also had technology.
right there. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Enoch wrote a lot of books with with um, how the Earth works, because he was taken for a tour, and he was actually dictated to how everything works on the Earth. So from the movements of the sun, the moon, the stars, and I'm guessing also that everything that pertained to the magnetism, electromagnetism, and how to use that to your advantage. There's, you can't see anything bad in that. The thing is that the fallen angels also taught, DNA manipulation, how to build weapons, and they
Metallurgy, construction,
yes,
psychology, culture.
yeah,
The list is endless.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, and they put themselves there as they let them, uh, they let people put them there as gods because that's what they wanted,
The
actually.
stars we see today creating the music that has changed the vibration from, was it 432 to 440 hertz, right? And what do they say, that the devil owns all the pop songs, all the big songs, or the whole entire music industry? I don't know if I believe that. You know, a lot of power. Maybe you do got to sign things over when you get to a certain level, but there's a lot of, let's say, innocent people, just something like that, trying to put out some great music. I would think, no.
Yeah, yeah.
Music
So
is a great
yeah,
way to touch a lot of people and
mm,
reach a lot of people with different
yeah.
kind of
So
view. And
you can imagine that there was this on the one side, the people learning all this uh, technology to use in a negative way, like
right,
weapons.
well, that's what the music industry turned into, this demonic
Yes,
machine
and
that
then you
is a
have the
soul
other,
stealing
yeah, and on the other side,
vampire.
the other
uh, You
people who
know,
are actually making use of the Earth system for their benefit, for their well-being.
right, for
So
everybody,
there were
right?
two sides. So
That
yeah,
they also goes for the energy centers and the hand signs and everything they do.
Right,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah,
related to
definitely.
that. Okay, we
yeah,
won't into get into that because the sign of Pisces, I don't know the exact word, I forget, when they make that sign of a Pisces with your hand, and here everybody calls it demonic. That was the sign for the ancient times the Christians were using to show that they were the follower of Jesus Christ. That sign of
Yes.
oval, yeah.
Oh,
How is it called? Pisces something. I forgot the exact name. If anybody know in the chat, can put in there, right? So all these kind of different signs and
Vesica
energy
Pisces, right?
spots. Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's the
Yeah,
right word. So
Vesica
so there are
Pisces.
many other different hand signs and gestures that really activates your energy systems and your nervous systems and many different things. But this is the problem, right? You have the word demonic on that by the West, right? But it's just science, just because it comes from other side of the culture, the people want to call it demonic, but the same things are put by Hall and many other psychologists who have taken all this stuff from the other cultures and put it in a scientific word and fancy word, so that the it looks like real science, and that they're going to accept it. If people like these are going to write a book and sell and make their whole life out of it, right, by taking the whole knowledge from the other side and calling it demonic and putting it in their own way, but it's the same science of frequency, energy, healing, vibration, right? I don't even want to go in there, right, about that. What was the real teachings, right?
Yeah.
If you guys have heard the our podcast, you will know what is the real teaching, right? Because I know there are some people who are complaining about the mechanical realm, right? Like, because we spoke about something about energy center, chakra, and all this stuff, right? I don't even want to go in there, and they think that we were trying to say about Christianity. We are just the messengers, okay? It's not. So don't attack the messengers, right? Go and do your own research. Then why the people who have dedicated their life to that mechanism are saying who tried to hide it? They didn't go in details about it. So we put what is there. We're not going to dilute or sugarcoat anything here, okay? Nor in our podcast, nor in our documentaries, right? If
No.
you can't find it, take the good, and if you don't resonate with something, leave it. Go and see something else, right? You can always take and or leave it a part of the things, right? Because we are not never going to agree on everything. All right. So connecting to that who tried to hit this technology from us to get in the globe, whoever that division or subdivision of that faith is, I don't know. It's your job to go and research. Our job was to put there who was trying to hide it, which subdivision of that faith. It's your research, right? Don't attack the messengers, right? We are not going to dilute anything, right? It's just more doors open. We know who can be the possibilities who hid these technologies from us, right? So we never that this whole idea about the earth being a flat on globe, we had never the conclusion, right? But this thing really concludes everything, right? But it comes in with other things, right? And if there's a mention of chakras or frequency or energy, sounds demonic, sounds comes from the east, but it is a part of the teachings of the also the Christ. But many are not ready to start for that conversation, right? I don't even want to go there, right? Okay. And the other thing I also wanted to mention about the mechanical realm, because some people were like, complaining about the accent, right? You know, uh, Evelyn, she's from Holland. She speaks English. I understand her perfectly, right? I don't know which other language she speaks, right? She have an accent, yes, but she's speaking a language that's not her mother language, right? Yeah. So we have Eddie Alankar, a person who is Brazilian, lives in Japan, speaks English, teach English, and he's trying to speak English, right? You have problem? Yeah, go and look something else. Me, yeah, I'm from the east. I live in Spain. I speak Spanish. I live 4 or 5 languages, right? I have my own accent, right? If people, the what the people have to be a bit compassionate and think that the effort and energy we all put together, right? That it's also a way that the people can understand that this flat earth thing is not just the West thing. There are many different cultures who are involved, and we have to welcome everybody. Everybody's not going to be in that perfect accent that you're used to. There are many different races and culture that lives under this tent, and we all are getting together to bring out the truth. So be a bit of compassionate, because of the time we all took in to put it there, the information that the truth goes out to you. That's it, nothing. And if you don't resonate, and if you can't, go look for something else, right? So just few things I wanted to get out there with the mechanical realm as we are speaking about. It just connected, so it's out there. That's my opinion, guys.
Mm. Yes, I want to add another a tip in case people have difficulty with accents. You can actually turn on the translate in YouTube, and it will actually write down in your own language or in English, preferably in English. Um, it just comes up in as we talk. It just comes up in writing. So that maybe is also a tip for people who really can't listen
Oh yeah, oh
properly.
yeah. The transcript is not very bad. The subtitles is not very bad. It's not perfect, but we are
Mm,
still working on it. Yeah, because it's lots of slides, right? But it's
yes.
still, you can read it perfectly. There are some words here and there that
Mm,
the subtitle generator is not picking up right, like especially the word antikythera and few words, like because of the accent too of some of them. But even from Keith and Jean also, it didn't pick up stuff, like,
mm.
because it's just automatically generated. But we are working on it, like, and once
Yeah,
it's out there,
especially mm,
yeah, go ahead.
it's especially handy for all the deaf audience, so to put on the transcript, and it will just show who's talking. But I think they know that already. So
Oh yeah,
it's
and it makes
yeah.
the project more beautiful that it's so
Mhm.
different people from different race cultures getting together for the truth, right? It's a good
Yes,
way to unite, right? So that's
yes.
it in that way, because there are many people just they don't even freaking think before they comment, because they're just there trying to put that bad day that they're having, like, onto somebody's work, right? So I understand, because also there was people complaining about that. As I said, don't don't attack the messenger. Go and do your
No.
freaking own research. Yeah, it's not we who are saying this. And if we are learning things from you, we are not here to babysit or sugarcoat anything, because no one is saying that any faith is wrong or something, right? Because to the core, if you just go in deep, you're gonna find the truth, right? But go there, see it, like, autocritic yourself. Why is it that information there, right?
Mm.
Instead of saying maybe this documentary like this, or it's promoting this and it's going wrong. No, because there's a lot of research and investigation put in there, right? We are not going against nobody. There is no how you say bias on anything. Okay, we are connecting the energy, and this is because it's the way it functions, these luminaries, right? It affects us on daily. Freaking imagine if 3 days the sun is not going to come out. Let's see what happens, right? So in that way, right, in energy wise, frequency wise, vibration wise, it affects us. That's it. That's the words being used. Just because the East understands it, what's the problem? Maybe you have to be more specific. Or the pineal gland that is mentioned about, what is so demonic about the pineal gland right there? What is it, right? As I said, if you really go and see what is the real teaching of Christ, you're going to see what is the real meaning, right, of everything that is each and every word, right? The only way to God is through me. right? Through me, every person, every soul, every individual, right? I don't want to go there. This is the thing. The Greg Locke, even if he tried to, push in his globe with the sunlight words, but you can see it clearly what it really means. It confirms that the Earth is flat. Like the sunlight is sandwiched between it. The sunlight is showing the real colors of this beautiful garment, this fabric, this tapestry, this robe, if you want to call it. Go and see it. Go out in the nature, sit there and look at this topography and the colors and the way it changes. It's this is a thing. And also the stamp, the clay, the impression, right? The impression, we can see this huge impression, the carved into this layer of earth, so that everything is just settled and is in place, right? With all this topography, with all this beauty, with all this sky, with all this everything inhabiting all these things, and how it's changing every day, every moment, right? The garment, the fabric, so beautiful, right? So I don't see any globe anywhere, even 0.0001, where we're seeing, even as if I see as an outsider, this words and trying to figure out, hey, this could be, the sunlight one I did, and this is what it is, right? But I don't see anything else in this verse of Job, that the earth is like yeah, it's his creation. You can take the metaphor. It is creation. It is work. It's his authentication that this is mine, right? I created it and it's been stamped, right? Right. So we know the layers it needs the seal to work, right? So there's no way out, right? So anybody who in the future will look into these words and maybe have doubt about any of these words could relate to the spirituality of earth is wrong. More clear than this it cannot be, right? So anyway, guys, we're going to have last thoughts about our topic today, and we'll be wrapping up soon.
Yes, well, I'm gonna say good night, but first I'm gonna give you some reading tips, and that is first of all um, some extra biblical books like the Book of Enoch, the Book of the Giants, the Book of Jasher, and the Book of Jubilees. Those, especially the Book of Jasher, it fills up gaps that they have cut out in the Bible. They don't go deep into the story, but here they do, and they are very easy to read, especially the Book of Jasher. It's very much it's not that thick, and it's in story. It's in story form, so it's quite fun to read. And as last, you have the book that our podcast today is named after, and that is like Clay Under the Seal by Dean Odell. And if you do want to buy that one, you will have to do it through his own website because it's been blocked by Amazon. It's not. It was. I think it was the next day. It was blocked, or the next hour. You know, when the debate finished, you couldn't get it anywhere. I'm thinking, well, maybe Amazon UK or Amazon in Netherlands. Nowhere. So you have to go to his website and arrange to buy it from there. The other books, you can get them from Amazon really easily, and they're not that expensive. Also, they're quite cheap actually. So do some reading, have fun with it, and well, I say good night till the next time.
Oh
Heavy
yeah, thanks.
censorship, yes.
Oh yeah, thanks for being here. Yeah, we have much more clear what these verses are saying, right? We always knew, but is always good to go and dig in more deeper and expand on it, right? So awesome. Thanks for being here, Evelyn.
Hey, I'll go next. I'll also say several of those books that Evelyn recommended are on the channel, where it's like a video book, or you can listen to someone read it to you on YouTube. I believe the channel is Flat Water, or he may have another channel called Flat Water FE. But the Book of Giants is on there. I think Jasher's on there. I know Enoch is on there. So if you're not buying the books and reading them yourself, you can at least go to YouTube and listen to someone else read the books for you. So that's a good resource. And as far as I go with the like clay under a seal, I don't think it had much to do with the sunrise. I think it had to do with everything, like the video that you created, Vikka, of the press down. And then showing it. I mean, that was such a good video. I need to share that again and again a few times, being that this subject or the scripture is so, I guess, trending right now. But yeah, the sunrise may have something to do with it, but if it does, it's still implying and proving that the earth is flat, just like, pressing the seal down into the clay, or even, we didn't talk about it, I don't think, but like a ruler used to wear a ring, a signet ring, and they would push that ring down into hot wax on the back of an envelope or a scroll or something. It's the same thing. That when you press down, there's like a circle around it usually, and then the impressions or the topography inside of it. So it's so simple, and to try to explain it away so that you can keep believing in a spinning wet rock, it's just a delusional belief to me. It's a blind faith. I say to people all the time, heliocentrism is a religion, and it demands more blind faith than any other religion on earth. People just talk and regurgitate what they've been told. They've never questioned what they were told. They just believed it. They just bought it hook, line, and sinker, and they just have blind faith, and that's all. So my faith is in my Creator, in myself, in other people who are seeking and finding the truth. If someone's going to make a claim to me, I'm like, okay, well, cool, that's great. Why do you believe that? Where did you get that? Just start asking more questions, and I think you'll learn more. And I think it just makes you a little more humble to question things instead of trying to defend things. So, Vikka, it's good to be here again. Gene, Evelyn, good to be with you again, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother. Big shout out to Matthew Digirigio. Sorry, brother, I can't pronounce your name. Thank you for the super chat, brother. And yeah, this is the thing. The whole video, Keith, is on my channel. It's called The Clay Under a Seal. It's a 10 or 15 minutes video. The whole video. You guys can check it out. And there we are doing different analysis of these impressions, and we are playing around with the clay. Amazing video. Yeah, it's not very long, but you can find it on my channel. Just you have to scroll down a bit. And yeah, as you say, right, even if you press a sandwich with cheese, the cheese comes out, right? It takes form, right? It's just a simple representation what the words are trying to say about stamping something, and sandwiching the two things between, right? But we really separated all these things, and it's very clear to see that there is no even a hint possibility that is relating to the shape of the earth as being round. It all indicates a geocentric and flat and stationary earth, right? And the garment stuff, it's beautiful. Yeah. Thanks, brother, for being here. Gene, brother, are you there? Last thoughts, brother.
Yeah, definitely, Vikka. I had a great show. I want to say thanks to everybody who hung out with us tonight in the chats. Hope you had a good week, and looking forward to seeing you next week too, guys. Yeah, I like the descriptive analogies and the symbolism that's kind of throughout everything you read in the past, ancient scriptures. It's all very descriptive of flat, motionless, stationary plane. So I think that's another nice one that we can use as a tool for people who are willing to listen to something like this. and make it more compelling for them if it's news to them, right? So, yeah, I'll tell you a quick story, guys. I've been talking to a lot of people, and I had a guy come in and say, "There's no way you're going to convince me Earth's flat." I was in the Navy. I was on a submarine, so I immediately pointed out, flatten the curve to the guy, and he said, "Yeah, you sound like my boss." And I'm like, "Where do you work?" And he says, "Well, I work for Congress." And I was like, "What?" So it ends up that this guy wants to send his boss in to talk to me, and I invited him back into the store, and hopefully I'm looking forward to talking to someone like that about everything going on. So the word is spreading. It's leaching out further into public and more into bigger areas, guys. So keep listening, keep talking. You'll find out new stuff. It's all fascinating, and it's all out there for us now. A lot of new stuff coming to light, and that's part of why I love doing these shows with you guys. Is this was a lot of new stuff for me to learn tonight, and a lot of fun. So yeah, Keith, Evelyn, great to see you guys, and real happy to all four of us were in the documentary, The Mechanical Realm. I mentioned that to the guy also. So yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens with something like that, guys. Could be fun, and but keep going, guys. And we're looking forward to seeing you next time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother. Thanks for being here. Oh yeah, we are trying to connect the dots together. But this is the thing, the more we speak, the more we reflect, we start getting the bigger picture, right? And we can connect more bigger dots, right? All that we have and discussed about on this channel, right? It's in our podcast, it's there. But still, as I said, we're going to be doing connecting more dots with this things that we spoke, because it helps us get that bigger picture, so even this channel, with this podcast, especially with this podcast, this channel is going to reach 200 videos. It's so easy to say 200 videos, but it's like 6 years of intensive flat earth research. So what do you think can be missed out, or what aspect of understanding we could have about this topic in itself, right? So if you're here new, subscribe and stay tuned, because we're going to be doing many more amazing discussion research here, right? So this is the thing. This verse says it all. It shows the beauty. It speaks about the beauty. It shows function. It shows what's the real shape of the earth is. I love these garment parts. I know this. This is it's the real stamp and creation of the creator, and it keeps changing, and it's so wide and so huge, connecting in different planes together in different forms, as I spoke about the steppe, the grasslands, the ice sheets, yeah, the tundras, the deserts, the plains, the grasslands, so it's all laid out, and like the fabric and the comes out and shows the beauty of it. So it's amazing. That's what it's really speaking about, right? So there is no spirituality, and this garment this garment actually, it's like a virtual garment, and maybe uh, this garment could be passed through, so it's many things, you could just keep on, but that's another topic for another time. We discuss many different things, we are not very limited to something that can hold us back in our imagination, because already to be a flat earther, apart from seeing the reality and perspective what we see, we need to have a good imagination that what could really be and possible full flat realm created by an intelligent design. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you, Gene. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, everybody in the chat. And yes, make sure you guys check us out on the next episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka, Draziv, signing out. Hey, this is also a super chat from Brian Orell. Thank you, brother, for collaborating. Yes, definitely inspires us to keep going. So I don't know, maybe if I should give a shout out to the people in the chat, because there are many people who always are there with us, and I've been not giving any shout outs, so I'll just give a shout out to the people. um, Sorry if I missed someone. Is Dr. Frankenstein there? And there's Gene also is there, and Evelyn also in the chat, cover to cover with Jeremy Pierce. And there is Queen M, and there is Yas Bat. um, who else is there? There's Stephanie McGuire, and then Brian Odell, Johnny Lust. Who else we got here? All right, there's Min Taka, Zoo Scott, hey, Zoo Scott, Captain Caveman, Ronnie Milanovic. Who else is there?
Cool. What's up, everybody? I saw Robin McIntosh before, I think.
Yeah, Robin McIntosh is also.
Yeah.
Then there's Eldon Beanie, Matthew Matthew Degre Gorio. Matthew Degre. All right. Thanks, brother. And then is Brian Odell too. Thanks, brother. And Effie Nation there. Carl, brother.
Carl, what's up, bro? There we go.
Brian and Carl, guys, whenever you want to jump in, as we mentioned, right? You're absolutely welcome, guys. And yeah, thanks everybody for being here. Awesome show, awesome breakdown. Yeah, I think we did a great job, more or less, to try to put it laid out there for the people to make up their own mind. Yeah, but it all really points out to a beautiful geocentric stationary flat Earth. So bye, guys. See you soon next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye. Good night.